So obviously lab this week, things are funky to say the least. So the goal was you guys are going to be doing the just jump mat. And so the way that that works is effectively what we've got put online, and you can actually see, this is from that, oh, Sydney's trying to rejoin. You can see this online through obviously the YouTube. So you get my happy self over the summer without a lot of enthusiasm. I'm talking through how I'm having to jump. As you can see, I have a nice festive rainbow mask that my sister made for me, and I'm doing this while standing on the just jump mat, which we have in the lab. Now, the key is you guys can do this on your own this week, where you're going to come in, get on the mat, go down, jump as high as you can, land soft, and then from there, you're going to go ahead and be able to look on the Just Jump Mat's computer, where it's actively going to go ahead and give you what the jump heights are. So I'm pretty sure I read these off. The next jump, what is the next jump? Okay, the next jump is going to be the pause. So you have to stand and sit in the bottom, hold, and then jump as high as you can. And boy, that is incredibly unimpressive with the jump height. And this is, I'm pretty sure, is after I got done squatting what's in the background and doing some deadlifting. So I'm a little T-rect. And then finally, the last jump is going to be the step approach. So you step up, jump, and then go. So you guys are going to go ahead and be able to kind of come by the lab and do that at your own leisure. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and just push this back till next Friday. So that way you guys are going to be able to go ahead and obviously do this and get this data on yourselves and kind of see how your own body responds, how high you jump in the 3 different configurations. So one is just your normal counter movement, down, up. The other is going to be a static. So you go to the bottom and hold that position for a moment and then jump as high as you can. And then finally, there is the wonderful step approach. So kind of like if you're playing basketball or volleyball, you're trying to do a layup or a spike, you're going to do that step in and then jump off of it so you can use a little bit more of the kind of kinetic energy and loading up your tissues. Now, the reason we're looking at these 3 different jumps, and then you're going to have to do the math on your power production, is we're going to be able to get an idea of effectively how much power production that you have, and then how that's going to change with the different types of jumps. So as you probably figure, most people aren't going to jump as high with the static jump as compared to the counter movement and the step approach. But the big key to it is for when you do the step approach, you're going to also be loading your muscle spindles. You do each jump twice, Courtney. I just go through each of them once for this example. You're going to go ahead and effectively look at those differing jump performances, which are going to come down to when you go faster into it, you're getting a greater stretch on your Golgi tendon organ and your muscle spindle. And so if you've got really good function of your muscle spindles and inhibited GTOs, you're going to jump higher on the step approach compared to the counter movement, compared to the static. But if you've got really poor function of your spindles and really strong function of your GTOs, you might actually be better at that static jump than any of the other ones. And that's what we're looking at. And then we'll compare it amongst one another. Now, for the lab, we're going to have the subsequent week, which you guys are going to be doing, is you're going to be looking at how many reps you do at different percentages of your max. So you're going to go ahead and max out on another type of preferably single joint exercise. You can do a multi-joint exercise if you want. It's going to be obviously a bit more challenging. I would suggest using something that is obviously going to be a machine-based, because they're easier, lower risk of making a mistake. And then once again, single joint, because even lower risk of making a mistake or getting injured. Take plenty of sets to warm up to that true 1 RM. Then you're going to drop to 80% of that max, do as many reps as you can, take at least 2, if not 5 minutes rest, go to 60% of that max and rep it out for as many as you can. And then you're going to drop down to 40% of that max and rep it out for as many as you can. And so from there, we're going to be able to look at how your performance as far as the reps you do is going to obviously typically go up as we are doing lower percentages of our max. And then we're going to do the same thing we did with our previous lab, when we're going to effectively make that scatter plot with our data and look at those relationships and see how the number of reps you do at what percentage of your max is related. And hopefully we'll be able to do that outside. Obviously, if we have weather like we do today, we're going to plan on, we'll either meet in the Burke or in essentially the Weaver Gym, because that's a pretty large space, or just here in the lobby in Moberly. But the Just Jump mat is going to be available for you guys to come in and do. That lab is going to be pushed back, so it is not due until next week. And then from there, you guys are going to go ahead and obviously, go through it, and we'll be able to go ahead and discuss what we found on both of these on next Friday. So who's got questions, comments, concerns? And I'm opening this up to anything that is not, directly to do with anything that we're supposed to be covering in lab today. This can be about any other questions you have about stuff going on in the course, simply because obviously we got a lot going on, and I want to make sure that all of you guys are pretty comfortable with, essentially what we're doing due to the wonderful weather and everything else. Yes, those labs are going to be pushed back. In fact, I'm going to be working on that right now while we're all talking, so that lab 4 and 5 are both going to be due next Friday. Yes, you can use a single joint exercise. You guys, I just want you to pick something that you guys would prefer. Doesn't necessarily need to be single joint, but just something that obviously is going to, that you feel comfortable maxing out on. Yes, that's the first type of jump that I show, where you just go down and up. That's it, it's down and up. So the reach and touch height is if we're using a Vertec, which is something that you actually are going to actually reach up and touch. And that's if the Just Jump mat isn't working. And right now we're not having an issue with it working, so you guys don't have to use that. That's what we have written in there as a backup. And so reach is effectively how high you can reach overhead and touch on the wall using like a measuring tape. So hence you don't have to do the reach and the touch height unless you guys want to. We can put the Vertec out if you guys want to test on that, but that's not necessary. Any other questions or anything else you guys want to cover?
I'm looking at the lab right now. So it says like the static jump touch height, and then it has the actual jump height. Do we just fill in for the static jump touch?
Yeah, only put in the actual jump height, because that's what you're getting from the Just Jump mat. So the key is, if you're using a Vertec, which I'm sure you've obviously used these before, Sydney, is we have to then take what you touched, so hence that's the touch height, and subtract your reach height, and that's your actual vertical jump.
Okay, so we would only need to fill out one or the other. Thank you.
Yeah, like I said, that's if we're using the Vertec. Oh yeah, go for it. If you got to commute for a while and you got access to a Vertec or anything else that you can measure your vertical jump with, then by all means, go ahead and do that. An easy way to do that, as long as you don't mind mucking up your wall, is you get some chalk and you put that on your hand, reach up, touch as high on the wall with the chalk as you can, and then do the jump and touch above it. And then you measure the distance, the difference in how high your hand was with like a meter ruler. And that's going to be another way that you can measure the jump height without having to actually have a Vertec. If your dog has the size of your hands, Evan, you don't have a dog, you have a horse. So this is asking, good question there, Holly. What you're really looking at is effectively the Henneman size principle of how we're going to get a muscle. So like the full muscle to go from super low force production to super high force production. And remember, that's going to go from the recruitment of fibers at higher rates. So we go from that, individual twitch all the way up to a full summation. And we're then going to recruit more and more individual fibers until we're contracting all of the fibers maximally in that muscle, which is going to give us the greatest force production. And that's obviously Reader's Digest. Henneman's size principle. That's what you want to go with. What other questions you guys want to work on? So, and Google might help you out there on the spelling if I was a little bit off. So, do you guys feel good? Do you guys have anything else you guys want to cover? Anything else you guys want to talk about? Otherwise, I mean, I don't think you guys can be upset to go back to being, iced in or whatever situation you find yourself in. If all you guys okay, everybody's got enough food and water and everything to make it through. Hopefully has heat that works at their place. All right. So one last little announcement is, remember, again, we're looking for people that might want to volunteer to be in the firefighting load carriage study that we're doing. And if you're interested, shoot me an email. I'll forward that on to Yehor. You guys, of course, remember him from lab. And we're more than happy to get you guys to be involved in the research we're doing. And yeah, and that will count for your VO2 max lab because you have to do it as part of the lab and the submax lab. So you don't have to participate in either of those labs. Congratulations. You already passed because you're going to really understand how they work. Otherwise, yeah, stay safe out there, guys. Take care of yourselves and have a great day.